Welcome to Kickstarter Radio. I'm your host, Lipstickpaddy, and today this is a very, very, very cool game. It looks like a nice box, doesn't it, to take on holiday? It does indeed. There's actually a lot of depth to this game, no pun intended. It's a fishing game, but it's Cthulhu fishing game. Indeed it is. Oh. It says, a game about reeling progressively more horrifying things out of the depths and managing your madness and pushing your luck at sea. There's kind of a lot here, so let's try and sink our teeth into this then. Right, so you've got this port board. This is the place you go back. You're selling your fish here. You're buying dice here, which are like bait, and all that good stuff. Then you go out to sea. Sea is this big board here. Depth of 1, depth of 2, depth of 3. You'll notice on the cards there is like a shadow showing you how big that thing is, but you don't necessarily know what it is. And you might go down and flip the card, but it might just be too difficult for you to catch at that time because you don't have the kit, the dice basically. The numbers on the dice are equal to your difficulty. Notice the die are these funky little things, like unique dies, to make it look a bit more fishing. However, you might fish something disturbing, like a corpse. Yes, and if you fish up a corpse, it's going to kind of give you some regret. It's going to give you one of these regret cards. You don't know what number you're going to get. This will be kept secret anyway. But at the end of the game, these cards are going to make you throw fish away. Now, you might catch a fish that's not worth any money, which is fine because you know you can take more risks by getting fish that are more disturbing, because you might want to avoid these. But the powers on these cards might be fantastic and worth getting. That's going to be pushing your luck. There's over 100 fish cards. I'm not going to give you the exact number of cards because they're not all fish, are they? If you've got a human body in the in the sea, and so it is fairly interesting. Let's keep going down. You've got to go really far down to see what's in the box here, but it's kind of an exciting box. Now, $50 coming in here, peeps. $50, and there's no stretch goals at all, but they've pimped it out as much. Or Judson here, he's pimped it out as much as he could with components and all that stuff, and it's going anti-plastic. So I guess the concern I have is twofold. One is, if you don't have stretch goals, the stretch goals could be daily goals. You could have had daily unlocks showing us some of your cards, because you got all these fish cards and you're not really showing any of the cool ones. And if you do daily unlocks, it could have got us really excited more and more. And when people keep coming back to your page to see your fish, or they come to this Kickstarter and start seeing all the daily unlocks and they go, oh, look at all these cool fish you can catch. That is what this is missing. Because at present, you make yourself look like a retail game, and you're looking at this and you're thinking, I bet you it's cheaper at retail, and you won't have to pay the expensive shipping prices. And especially the taxes that people are complaining about and all that jazz. So for me, there's a little bit of a worry, because if it comes out at retail, you know you're going to get the same box, because the developer wants to go anti-plastic and is making everything wood-based, And that will carry through to retail, wouldn't it, peeps? So I think that's the elephant in the room, is the no stretch goals. I just think it's a disappointing choice, because daily unlocks are the same, but you can excite the community more with them. Anyway, the designer is the artist, and he has this fantastic art style. He pencils it all in, he inks over the top, brings it into digital form, and then colours it in on a computer. So yeah, it's really cool. Now you can keep these trophies when you catch these fish. There is this element of taxidermicing them. And there is an element of persistence that carries on through the game also, depending on what can happen in the game. So, you know, the deeper you go into this, the more you get it out. Now, it says it's 1 to 5 player, 16 and up. 16? It runs 30 minutes per player. Now, there is a quicker way of playing it where it's 20 minutes per player, if you want to get that time, because a 5-hour game really is going to be 2.5 hours. What? Yeah, you can basically, when we see the components, there's like you go in fishing in a week, and you can start on a Tuesday, potentially start on a Wednesday if you want to get the playtime down even further. Right. So yeah, Eldritch World, I think this is what makes it interesting, is the fantasy part of it, where you've got all these spooky things in the ocean. Now there's a little bit lower here. Not really interested. It's like, what's in the box? Like they could... How is this stuff got more weight than what's in the box? Look at it all. We don't know what's in the box yet, and you're showing us how it plays, because showing you what's in the box is kind of, I don't know, should that not be near the top? It's kind of a weird presentation page, but yeah. So yeah, you'll spend a week moving between sea and port, trying to pull in the most desirable creel of fish. Fish adjacent creatures, not technically fish, yes. Right, so there is this aspect of research revealing each fish has powers, though, and these powers are all tied up in iconography. There's a lot of iconography. You do get a player aid to help you with these, but it's like, for example, when it's revealed, do something. If you eat the fish, you get a bonus plus something. So, you know, you could potentially eat these fish instead of selling them. And, of course, you can potentially trophy them at the taxidermist at the port. Now, if you do trophy fish, it will add a multiplier. So you're going to have to trophy them up just to get bonuses, is how that works out. I'm not sure how many you can trophy, because it does sound a little bit, it can go fairly extreme. Oh. Right, so you're going to be trophying them up, is what you're going to be doing anyway. It does say prize catch ×3, so you're going to probably put your biggest fish in there. There's like a little bit of display things that you'll be doing, so maybe there is 3 maximum that you can taxidermy up. So yeah, you're all going to have these multipliers, so you're going to need a calculator if you keep catching more fish. Because you've got the value in the top left and the difficulty to catch them in the top right. There is some flavor text and the name, of course. And there is this fail forward that if you don't catch a fish, you will get this dink deck, get something from the Dink deck, and it looks like that is potentially going to help you fishing later, because you can see it's reducing difficulty. So yeah, you can spend dice to go deeper, and it'll get weirder the deeper you go. And certainly you might want to be fishing the big shadows. So you know you're technically going deeper with a thought that you might be getting something big. But again, there's a lot of luck here. This is the fishing games always have to have luck here, and you might get something good, bad, or, you know, weird. So yeah, worms and stuff. It's funny because there's 10 rods in the game that you can get. And you can see that the rods have interesting names like Rod of the Infinite and the Abysmal Reel. They're all kind of like fantasy stuff, which is interesting. Sadly, you can't like catch stuff and craft stuff. That would have been interesting. Yeah, you can see the trophies that I've put up here, and yeah, looks pretty good. All right. So yeah, here's the kind of the madness track, and it's fairly cool, the madness track. As you push yourself down, you'll get bonuses, and but the further you go down the madness track, the more of these regret cards you're going to have. So yeah, you'll have more freedom, as they call it, but you're going to have a heavy weight at the end of it. Alrighty. Now, stuff can happen, unpredictability, of course, and here I might have to abandon ship if something big is too big, and isn't that interesting? Now, there is a co-op mode, interestingly, or solo, and this is regarding what it calls the Epic Campaign. So you have this big sheet for the open survey, and you are specifically hunting down fish, and I guess you're trying to catch all of them. And this is the kind of persistence that it's going to have, where you are, you know, the survey is going to take multiple plays to kind of fish this stuff out, and you can maybe you know, catch them all, I guess. Now, there is this equipment here. Now, unlock equipment. The Bag of Maggots and the Book of the Deep. These, it says, are permanently unlocked if you bring these back to ports. So yeah, this is the concept of permanently unlocking stuff, so that every time you go fishing, you do have this stuff with you. But yeah, so it's interesting. Now, if you download the rules, they look almost version 0.99. Like they're almost finished, if not, they have been finished. So this looks like very close to pushing the button to get printed and made, doesn't it? Finally, what's in the box? Dear me. Player boards have two sides. They are all exactly the same. It's more for flavour. Which character do you want to be? Which colour do you want to be? The survey thing, we've seen that. There's the sea board, beautifully illustrated, and the port board. So yeah, you start on Monday. You can speed it up by starting on Tuesday, is in the rule book, but you know, you might want to start on Wednesday if you want. Notice on the days certain things are happening during certain days, like refresh all the decks, and you know, economy moves around and things like this. All right. Yeah, the dice, these bespoke boys, yeah, they look cool. The omen die is an interesting thing. Like I said, some of these fish you catch are going to have certain events that are going to pull up, which kind of makes the fishing even more unpredictable. Yeah, you get a boat meeple just to go with your colour. I'm pretty sure there was a yellow person. This is orange, isn't it? Yeah, and you do get a bag. You are going to be pulling from the bag to resupply the poet. Yeah, there is a die. Some fish might want you to flip a coin. I do love the head and tails coin. I think it's fairly funky, isn't it? Reference cards absolutely needed for the iconography on the cards. Regret cards. There are 60 of these, but you don't use all of these if you basically deal out cards equal to the number of players. So you're not going to use all of these. Certainly if you're solo, you're probably only going to see 10, I think. Dink cards. These are the fail forward cards if you don't fish anything. 10 rods, 10 reels, 20 tackle supplies. And some of this might have to get unlocked during certain games because there might be persistent. There's a question mark about this unlocking equipment and then it becoming persistent. So, yeah, maybe you are playing games and it does unlock something in the shop, but it doesn't unlock anything in the shop. So I don't know how that works. Maybe these are fish cards or something that you fish up and you can flip the card over and you can see the shop item from it and it becomes persistent in the shop. I still don't know anything about that bit, this concept of unlocking stuff. It's these tackle supplies, isn't it? These are the stuff. It is... All I know, there is a persistence where you'll unlock features that will make the game differently. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you've got all these epic fish, and you could have been daily unlocking these. Sadly, you didn't. But it gives you an example of the depth of what you might see and what kind of weirdness we've got here. I mean, you fish up a pram. What the heck? So yeah, it's going to surprise you what you pick up, including the corpse. Now there is some fish, obviously, that we have here, like the great white shark and all that stuff. But mainly it is going to be horror Cthulhu based. Da, 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 da. 200 unique artworks. Yes, the artist has done an incredible job. No plastic. This is what I mean. This will carry through to retail. Yep, no stretch goals. We've discussed this. Now, add-ons. 18 card mini expansion. You're going to have to get this if you want Cthulhu. Of course you want... Why is Cthulhu not in it? Like, you have to buy the mini expansion to get Cthulhu. The great old one. You can see him there. So that's kind of sad that you can't get this. But extra £4 for that. Like, I don't know. Isn't everybody going to get that? There is something to say, though. If you get the box... and the mini expansion, that's shipping from a region. But if you want this other stuff now, the poster, that's going to get shipped, I think, from the UK. So you're going to be potentially paying extra shipping for these other bits that are in the shop. And Hideous Abomination and its expansion, which is an incredible kids game. you can pick it up here, the Kickstarter edition. Highly recommend it. We covered that on the channel. It was absolutely fantastic. From done by the same stuff, or draw weird stuff. There you go. He's not painting this stuff. All right. If you want to know what's in the Eurozone or the APAC zone, you're going to have to go to the FAQ, and there's no mention of Mexico. I've had to ask what's going on. Where's Mexico? Because he does say if it's shipped to USA and Canada, it comes from the USA. And, well, if it's shipping from the USA, surely they can ship to Mexico. What's going on? I want to guess and say it's California. But if you're in Canada, if you want the £4 add-on, it adds $10, like 50% extra shipping fee for that small deck. How many cards? 18 cards. What's going on here? 18 cards for 50% extra shipping if you're in Canada. What? Like, if you look at the rest of the world and all the other prices, they're not as egregious as that. But why is Canada getting shifted? Is it on like the level of a weight category, and as soon as you add that little 18 cards, it jumps to the next price point? So yeah, if you do want that expansion, just be aware it might knock the shipping up to another thing and all that stuff. And I think that's one reason to get the Kickstarter, is to get that pack anyway. Now, it does say that all costs are estimated. They're shown in GBT. Shipping and taxing will be charged later, of course. You're going to use backer kit, and here's like the VAT that you might have to pay on the shipping. VAT on shipping. Anyway, like VAT on shipping. Anyway, fulfillment is March 2025, so we are a long way away. But I'll tell you now, peeps, this is in the same price bracket as Unstoppable, which we looked at yesterday. So there's going to be an interesting fight between this, and for me, it's an interesting £1 pledge, because Deep Regrets is looking spectacular, isn't it? Just going to find out shipping prices, but if I have to choose between Deep Regrets and Unstoppable, because I'm probably going to $1 pledge both of these, and we'll just have to see how the development goes and all that stuff, how things are ticking along. Especially when I could argue that Unstoppable will be back on Kickstarter in a couple of years for an expansion. Maybe that'll be the time to press the button. Whereas Deep Regrets looks like a game that might not be expanded upon. I think the developer will probably go on to a different game, as is shown in the past. But not a bad first day. 1,500 backers. Wow! I guess he impressed a lot of people at the UK Games Expo. But yeah, it looks super cool. Like I say, you can make the game quicker. It's a nice box. You can take it on holiday. Table presence is looking sweet with all the custom art. There's that randomness, the co-op nature, the collecting, the persistence going on, and all that good stuff. It's looking absolutely fun. A game you shouldn't really take too seriously. It almost has a party feel with the look and the push your luck aspect of it, but the unpredictability of it kind of feels like a party game. But the co-op turns it into like a collection game where you're hunting certain things. So that seems also fun as well. But as someone said in one of my comments, And I'm sorry, I don't write names down or anything. I'm terrible with names. But they said, Unstoppable is the same price as Hexplorit base box, volume 5, the Mountains of Gadai. And they were arguing that the content is not the same. Now, I know Hexplorit base boxes are cheap, and there is an incredible amount of content in those boxes, but you can't compare them. You can't compare a game with another game in value, for goodness sake. I don't know, because Deep Regret certainly has got less content than Hexplorit Volume 5. And if you're really coming for a game that you've got a year's supply of content with, maybe Deep Regrets and Unstoppable are not for you. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own shopping habits. And for me, I'm trying to fulfill the one retail game of the year. And Deep Regrets is in the competition now. So it's looking super, super good. Yeah, there we go. Deep Regrets. Is there anything I would like to see? Put the expansion 18 cards in the box so they don't have to pay extra shipping. What's going on? You can't just put that 18 card expansion in the box. Haven't you had a Kickstarter where they've put stretch goals and expansions in the base box? They just put them all in the base box. That seems more reasonable. If you do your due diligence, that is probably what the dev should do, so that the SKUs aren't too different. I don't know. Would it have been as egregious to put the cost at $54 for the game and just put it in the box anyway, and stressing that the Kickstarter edition will have this extra 18 cards? Would that have not been better, because you would have had one SKU? I don't know. The reason I'm saying this is just because the shipping price goes up with that little 18 card upgrade. Bonkers, isn't it? Anyway, on that bombshell, if you like the video, please give it a like, and do check out Deep Regrets. There's some very interesting videos you can check, even one with the developer at the UK Games Expo, which is good to look at too. So yeah, have fun out there looking for that, and maybe you can get on board with Deep Regrets. So thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Lipstickpaddy. This is Kickstarter Radio 102.4. You take care, stay safe, and bye for now.